This is the Louie T Network.
I'm ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Louie? Yeah.
Overtime! So we head to overtime.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Week 6 edition. New York Football Giants taking on the Denver Broncos. Who didn't see that coming? I mean, seriously. 0-5 Giants. No receivers in this game. Offensive line stinks. No running game which to speak of. Broncos coming off of a bye week. They're 3-1. They feel good about themselves. They're healthy. They're rested up. They're at home. Who didn't see this coming? This NFL season is crazy. It's wacky. It's nuts. It's bananas. It's whatever the hell you want to call it, however you want to describe it, whatever adjective you want to use for crazy, knock yourself out. But that's what it is this year. This season is bonkers. Hell, I just gave you like 5 different ways to describe it. This game is crazy. I sat here for a week dreading this game. I talked about it last Sunday. Oh, Lord, Giants and Broncos. Who wants to see that garbage? This Giants team stinks. No one wants to see that game. I talked about it Monday when I broke down. I broke down the Giants game last Sunday because I watched it on Sunday. I talked about it on Monday Night Football. I was like, we got that Giants game coming up on Sunday night. I talked about it on Wednesday when I gave you my picks. The Giants game's going to suck. Garbage on primetime. And it was a garbage game, just not the way that we thought it was going to play out. Talked about it on Thursday night. The Giants game on Sunday is going to be horrible. The Giants suck. They're going to be 0-6. And I did it once more right before the game, and I broke down Chiefs and Steelers, and I talked about the Chiefs. Well, you just lost this game, and now the Broncos are going to win, and they're going to be 4-1, and all of a sudden now they're right back in the thick of things. Oh, really? And the Giants said, oh, really? So we're not here. We just don't stand a chance. We're not even on the field tonight, right? That's why they play the games, man. God damn, who saw that one coming? Giants dominate from start to finish. I mean, they literally kicked the Denver Broncos' ass tonight. And the Broncos had opportunities, and they spoiled those opportunities early. They had some opportunities late, spoiled those opportunities as well, but give the Giants credit. They ran the football, something that we did not think they could do. They protected Eli Manning for the most part, something else we did not think they could do. They forced turnovers, something that I didn't anticipate them being able to do, especially with DRC being out and suspended and no Olivier Vernon. Didn't expect that either. And they dominated on the scoreboard, something else I did not think they would be able to do in this football game. For the majority of this game, it was 20-3. Think about that for a second. This Giants team that in 2 other primetime games this year had scored a total combined 13 points. 16 points. I think they scored 6 against the Cowboys, or was it 3? I think it was 19-3. So they scored 13 points combined in 2 previous primetime games this season. Just think about that for a second. We've had the 0-5, now 1-5 Giants 3 times on primetime television this year. Ouch! Think about that for a second. But in any event, a total of 13 points in 2 previous primetime games. The Monday night game versus the Lions in week 2 was a 10-point outing, 24-10. In that game, they lost. And then they lost 19-3 on the first game of the season on Sunday night versus the Cowboys. So all the 13 points combined, they scored 17. They scored 17 in the first half of this game, 23 total. as they demolish the Denver Broncos 23-10 in this game. And hats off to the Giants in this football game, because with all of the nonsense going on the field with the injuries, the lack of play offensively, the defense being good but not as good as it was a season ago, and the underachieving nature in which they have lost this season, and then having the things off the field with Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie leaving and being suspended, and all of that surrounding and swirling around this team heading into a tough road game all the way across the country, and this is how you respond? Hats off. And look, I still think Ben McAdoo is clueless. However, the smartest thing he may have ever done as Giants head coach is turn over the play calling, because he's not good enough as a head coach to handle more than one task on the sidelines during game day. Let someone else do that. Let someone else call. And you could actually see the difference in play calling tonight. Now, was that offensive line and it was that lack of receivers that forced them to run the football? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not here to speculate. I just know there was a commitment to the run tonight that the Giants haven't had since 2011. Or since Tom Coughlin was there. And even when Coughlin was there at the end, when McAdoo took over the play calling, it still was more 60-40 run pass split. So, in any event, how long has McAdoo been there? 2 years. This was his second year. Won the division last year. Play called the year prior. So what's that? This is 17. That was 16, 15. So since 2014, this is about the first time we've seen the Giants actually make a concerted effort to run the football consistently since like 2014. Because since Ben McAdoo has been the offensive coordinator in New York, there's been a really big commitment to hell with the run. Let's just have Eli get rid of the football. So this was refreshing. And when you revamp the offensive line, I guess this is what your end result is, I guess. Well, we'll see if this is like real or if this was just a mirage because the Broncos just stunk tonight. Next week versus Seattle, who's coming off of a bye. So we'll really find out where this Giants football team stands next week. But in any event, celebrate! God damn it, you're no longer winless. One less winless team left in the league. Still two remaining, San Francisco and Cleveland. It's going to be a while before the Browns win one, but the 49ers, they're on the cusp. They're going to get one here sooner or later. But, hey, the Giants said, hey, take our name off that list, man. We don't belong there. We're going to go ahead and take our name off that list with a big, impressive 23-10 road victory against the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football. I'm your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me on this program. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting the subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. If you're watching this video, you want your comment to be read once this breakdown is done and I get to the comment section, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read live on the air if it's pertinent, okay? Also, I've got a number of social media platforms where you can reach me and stay in tune to what's going on the Louie T Network. They are all right there scrolling up across the screen. Also, there is Instagram that is not there. But all of them, all of the links to them are down in the description of this video. Also, you can find how you can donate to this channel down in the description. There's Patreon, which I set up this weekend, and Patreon is awesome. And I'll have a video out at some point this week talking about all of the perks to donating to the channel and what you'll receive in turn if you donate a specific amount on Patreon per month. So I was just exposed to that site. I had knowledge of it previously, but I really delved into it deeply this weekend, and it's actually a really cool site. And so Patreon is now at your disposal to donate to this channel if you can. Also, there's still PayPal there as well. So that's in the description. Those links are there. Check that out. But the Giants, 23-10. That's not in the description. That's not something that we expected to happen. And so let's talk about how it did come to fruition tonight. As the Giants dominate this game from the opening kickoff to the final whistle, 23-10. is the final score. Let's start with the offense because this offense has been anemic all season long. Look, we know for the most part what we're getting from this Giants defense. No, they're not the same elite dominant group that was tearing the NFC to shreds last season, dominating some of the best offenses in the league and reducing them next to nothing. No, it's not that group, but they are still competent on that side of the football. We'll talk about them because we've come to know what to expect from them usually from week in, week out. This offense, however, we expected little to nothing from them in this game. Eli Manning, we will all agree, is probably a shell of himself at this point. You take away all of the man's weapons and really, what is he going to do in this game is what the prevailing thought was. There's no Brandon Marshall. There's no Odell Beckham Jr. Shame on you if you step to the old dirty Beckham. No ODB in this game. And then, of course, no Sterling Shepard. So, damn, what is he supposed to do at receiver with all of these clowns that's going to be out there? Tavares King, and Roger Lewis Jr. and all these guys that are out there. Travis Rudolph. What is he supposed to do with these guys? I don't know. Don't ask me. But it starts up front. Let's before we talk about the receivers, because they really had little to no impact on the game. Let's talk about this offensive line, shall we? Because this was the biggest issue offensively, if you ask me. A lot of people wanted to blame Eli for the struggles of this Giants football team. A lot of the blame lies for me squarely along this offensive line and how poorly they have played this season. I could argue that the play calling hasn't benefited them any by holding the ball in Eli's hands as long as they have, but nonetheless, you still got to protect and you still got to open up holes in the run game when you do actually call a run, and they haven't been doing it this year until this particular game where they made a ton of moves to try to rectify an offensive line. And I don't know why they haven't been trying musical chairs along this offensive line this entire time to figure out what would be the best combination of five that you could put on the field. It took them 5 weeks, 5 losses to figure out we need to make some changes up front. No shit, Sherlock. Took you 5 weeks to figure that out? Your right tackle has been getting his ass whooped every single week and is not a starting right tackle in this league. It took you 5 weeks to figure that out? Really? Okay. Took you 5 weeks to figure out maybe Justin Pugh, who we drafted to be a tackle, probably needs to go back out to tackle because that's the best we got to slide out to right tackle. Took you 5 weeks to figure that out. That's why you signed DJ Fluker to a 1-year deal so that he could play guard if in the event you needed to move Justin Pugh outside or you needed to play musical chairs or you needed to fill in. That's why Fluker was here. Why not give him a shot? It's not going to hurt you. You're already 0-5 and your line already stinks. Took you 5 weeks to figure this out. Hey, let's move John Jerry to left guard instead of right guard. Hey, how about that? Why not? Is it going to hurt anything to try some things? Why not? Will it work tonight? Will it work next week? I don't know the answer to that, man. I don't know that. But it worked tonight. And that's the problem when your coaching staff isn't aware of what's going on. Because if they were aware, they would have tried to fix this problem 3 weeks sooner. And that's what happens when you're a play caller. Your head coach is also your play caller, and he's not aware of his surroundings. It's amazing what happens when you give up the play calling duties and you say, all right, let's try to fix some things. All right, I'm going to walk around and I'm going to try to fix some things instead of having my head buried in a play sheet trying to figure out how to get the offense jump started. Well, number one priority should be fix the damn offensive line. Who knew you had the tools to fix it right in front of you if you would just made some moves? That's nor here nor there. Bottom line is they made the moves tonight and the run game looked excellent. Speaking of which, damn. The commitment to the run for the Giants tonight was outstanding. I've been talking about this all season long. Like, damn, Orleans Darkwa looks good. Hey, look, I don't know if Orleans Darkwa is the best you got, okay? And Paul Perkins getting injured may have been a revelation that gave Orleans Darkwa more touches. Whatever. I don't give a damn. I just know every time I see Orleans Darkwa, I remember last week, the Chargers game, and I said, hey, can I ask you something? Why is it that Orleans Darkwa had 4 carries for 48 yards on your 2 scoring possessions in this game. And I think that at that point, it was like 17-22 or something like that. I don't know. And I was like, at what point did it make sense to not give him the football anymore? He scored the 1 touchdown you had in the first half, and he helped lead you to the other points that you scored in the first half, which was a field goal. 4 carries, 48 yards, including a 23-yard touchdown run, and he only ends up with 6 carries on the day? That's it? Why? That was the question I had last week. And so it's not a surprise to me that this week they finally say, all right, Orleans, no Paul Perkins. We don't trust the Rook enough to give him a bunch of touches. You're up. And he goes out and he runs for over 100 yards in this game. Give the man a chance. I honestly think he was your best back last season. Orleans Darko has done nothing but produce when you've given him the opportunity to do so. Run the football. Eli Manning in this offense stinks. Run the football. What do you got to lose? Evan Ingram was outstanding tonight. And this is exactly what you drafted him to do. Beat linebackers in man-to-man coverage. Outrun these bastards to the sidelines. Win foot races. That touchdown, that was all Evan Ingram. All Evan Ingram saying, you can't run as fast as me. You can't keep up with me, man. Threw another dragger going the opposite direction. Beat the linebacker who had almost horse-collared him, tried to get him down. Evan Ingram was outstanding in this game. And that's what they need from him. They need him to be outstanding, especially with the receiver position in shambles the way that it is right now. They're going to need the running backs to step up like they did tonight. They're going to need the tight ends to step up the way they did tonight moving forward. Because the receiver position, it just is what it is. At some point, you'll get some help back, but this receiver position is going to be in dire straits for the remainder of the season for the most part. So you're going to need other guys to step up, and they did that tonight. The offensive line was outstanding. The run game was outstanding. Eli didn't have to do much. See how much better Eli is when he didn't have to do much? Just orchestrate the game. Don't F it up. Don't try to go out and be He-Man or Superman. Just orchestrate the game. That's it. Turn around, hand it off. If I need you on 3rd and 7, how about you do a little Tony Romo spin out the back door and find your tight end or find Roger Lewis for a great completion to keep a drive alive. And if I need you, I can get that out of you. Or just dump it down to Evan Ingram and let him run past somebody. Flash the wheels. It's a great night for the Giants offensively because they kept it simple. They kept it simple. Back to the basics. Be physical up front. Control the line of scrimmage. Don't turn it over. It's a winning recipe. Look around the league. Look at who's winning games. Know why the Bears have won twice this year? That's the formula. Try to minimize the turnovers. They're a bad team, so they're going to turn it over. Minimize the turnovers if you can, but run the football. Control the line of scrimmage. You can win games like that. But look at what the Steelers did today against the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't turn it over. Control the line of scrimmage. Run the football. You got a shot. You can do that in this league. Ask Jacksonville how they're at 3-3 right now. Ask them. Go ask them. Play defense. Run the football. Control the line of scrimmage. You got a shot. Giants did that tonight. They dominated the football game. It's not a coincidence. We love the passing game. We love what comes from the passing game because points come from the passing game. It's beautiful when it all comes together like poetry in motion, but when it's not working, it is ugly. You know what is beautiful? Beauty is all in the eye of the beholder, by the way, because some people hate the run game. They hate defense. They don't want to see 13-10. They don't want to see 19-13. Oh, that is gorgeous to me. Pound the team into oblivion. Shut them down on defense. That's what the Giants did tonight. Pounded the Denver Broncos into oblivion and played lights out defense. Now, they gave up some yards, but when they needed to make plays, they made them. And it doesn't hurt when you hurt the other team's receivers. That makes it a lot easier when you take out their top 2 receivers essentially and then take out one of their small slot guys in their return, man, and you say, hey, beat us with Jordan Taylor. Beat us with Benny Fowler. Good luck with that. Dominant performance, though, by this Giants offense for the first time in a long time. And you go over to the defensive side of football. They got after Trevor Siemian in this game. First things first, you stop the run against the Broncos. Much like a lot of these teams in the league, there are a few teams in this league that can win without a run game because they haven't been able to run the football consistently, and so they had to adapt and learn how to win without being able to run the football effectively. There are about a good 8 to 12 teams in this league that if they don't run the football effectively, they may continue to try, but even if they don't run it for the numbers that they're looking for, they can still survive because they've adapted. They know how to get it done. But there are just as many teams in the league that have to run the football. It is just survival for them. They don't run it, they don't stand a chance. The entire AFC East is that way aside from the New England Patriots. The Jacksonville Jaguars are that exact same way. This Denver Broncos team is similar. They need to run the football. Trevor Siemian, I like Trevor Siemian a lot, but he is not the type of quarterback that you can say, hey, put us on your back, throw for 350, don't turn it over. If he throws for 350, there's an interception somewhere in there. If he throws it 35 times, you best believe there is one or multiple interceptions in there. Because Trevor Siemian don't give a damn. He takes chances and risks. And you saw tonight he went to the well one too many times against this Giants defense. They were showing the stat, and they were bragging about it. I felt like Day-Day on Friday after next when Homeboy's mom was bragging. If you don't pay your rent tonight or today, your salad is going to get tossed tonight. He said, you like the fact that your son's a fag? And I looked at the Sunday Night Crew, and they were bragging about how Trevor Siemian was throwing at the Jackrabbit and having success. I'm like, you think that's a good idea? With Eli Apple's funky ass on the opposite side of the field, you think that it's cool to throw at the Jackrabbit? Okay, don't worry about it. He'll get you eventually. And he did. And to me, that was the back-breaking play because 10-3 against this Giants team, that's not that bad. They can't score a ton of points. You're fine. You're still in the game. You'll win. That pick six before the half, damn, homie. Just last drive, you was the man, homie. What the F happened to you? Just like that is 17-3, you're done. You're done-ski. Because you can't score tonight, and they don't need much tonight. And that pick six was a backbreaker right before the half. Put them up 17-3. And for all intents and purposes, that was all she wrote. And then to add insult to injury, Trevor Siemian injured himself on the play. Now, he would return in the second half of the game. But again, too many mistakes. And it was all forced by this Giants defense. They stopped the run early in this game. They said, nope, CJ. Nope, not happening. Oh, you think you're going to get something too, Jamal Charles? Nah, you better go sit your ass down too. We ain't having it tonight. Hey, Trevor Siemian going to have to beat us. Good luck, Trev. You're going to need it. JPP got his ass 3 times. The run game shut down. Then they start collapsing the pocket. Even Snacks got in and got him some. Got him a sack. They were all over Siemian. They rushed him. At one point, he started seeing ghosts. The man rolling out of the pocket when there's no pressure. And I would roll out too if Billy Turner was my right tackle. I get it. But damn, the Giants had this man seeing ghosts. They took his receivers away. They took Emmanuel Sanders away first. E-Man Sam was gone early fourth. My man, 8, Demaryius Thomas, was limping somewhere in the third and pretty much was banged up the remainder of the game. Poor McKenzie came in. They got him as soon as he came in on the deep ball. He was gone. And they left them with little or nothing out there. And they just continued to tee off on them. Hats off to the Giants, man. I thought that Ross Cockrell played bang up in the slot. I thought Keenan Robinson was outstanding tonight. I thought he was a standout in this game. He was everywhere in this football game. And, of course, Janoris Jenkins, the Jackrabbit, was outstanding. After a rough start early, he had to strip when the Broncos were still in this ball game on a 4th down. He took the ball away from 8 Demaryius Thomas. That was a huge play. His pick six arguably is the biggest play of the game because it goes from 10-3 to 17-3 And at that point, with the way the offense was going, I still thought in the second half the Broncos had a shot. But 17-3 was a steep hole for them to climb out of versus 10-3. And so he was outstanding. JPP was outstanding. And when you get a guy at each level playing phenomenal football as the Giants had tonight, and JPP along the defensive line, Keenan Robinson at linebacker, and the Jackrabbit in the secondary, it's going to be hard to beat this Giants football team because defensively they looked more like the team last year in this game than they have all season long on the defensive side of the football. And that was refreshing to see. It always helps when your offense gives you a reason to have some energy. And sometimes you got to do it yourself. And they picked off Trevor Siemian, took it to the crib, and they were dominant tonight. Got the stop on the goal line. When the Broncos thought they were going to get back in the game, they weren't having it tonight. Hats off to this Giants defense. Hats off to the Giants offense. Hats off to the Giants in general. Special teams blocked a field goal. Had one blocked themselves, but blocked the field goal. The Roses kid, Aldrick Roses, looks the part at the field goal kicking position. It was an all-around good night for the Giants in a season where there haven't been many all-around good nights for the Giants. As they get it done 23-10, you go to the Broncos side of things, this was just abysmal from the start of this game. You got a team at your crib coming off of a bye in which you should dominate. They're 0-5. They're lifeless. Their receivers are all out. They're depleted. They're searching for something, anything. I talk about this all the time. When you got a team like this coming into your building, you want to take the fight to them early. You want to take the heart out of that team immediately. Don't give them any. A team like the Giants would have quit in this game had you jumped on them 14-0 in the first quarter. Had you jumped on them 10-0 in the first quarter, tacked on a field goal and the score was 13-3 at halftime, you would have had them. But instead, you started slow. You allowed the Giants to gain momentum. Slowly but surely, they gained momentum. You had turnovers. You had mistakes. You had penalties. You had all of these missed opportunities, a missed field goal early that would have tied the game up at 3. All of these things help build momentum for the Giants in this game. And that's a recipe for disaster against a winless team or a team that isn't very good. The longer you allow them to hang around, the more confidence you give them, the more likely it is that they're going to jump up and bite you in the ass. And that's what happened tonight. Too many mistakes, too many turnovers, too many missed opportunities, too many mistakes by this Denver Broncos football team. Too many penalties. The Broncos, no run game for which to speak of tonight. So that meant Trevor Siemian had to step up. I thought he forced a lot of footballs into some tight windows, which is what Trevor Siemian does. He has the ultimate confidence in his arm. And it wins him some throws and some situations. It hurts him in some situations. And tonight, I thought it hurt him more than it helped him. He threw some footballs into some really dicey situations. He got sacked. This offensive line was not at its best tonight. You would have thought it would have been the other way around, that the Broncos would have been dominating the line of scrimmage and would have been getting after Eli Manning. Instead, it was the Giants up front really giving it to this Broncos offensive line and really making Trevor Siemian feel uneasy. No run game. Siemian uneasy, making mistakes. That pick six was a backbreaker. You lose some of your receivers in this game. All of a sudden now, you ask yourself, what does this mean for the Broncos moving forward? Because that E-Man Sand injury, it didn't look good. I don't have a diagnosis. You know, I don't want to even speculate as to what it is. It didn't look good. That's for certain. He looked to be in plenty of pain leaving the field. That's definitely not a he'll be back next week. So whatever the case may be, your bye week is gone. You just used that up. There are no get out of jail free cards moving forward. You used that up already. So E-Man saying, even if it's a minor injury, he's gone for the next 2 weeks, minimum. Okay? Then double eight, Demaryius Thomas did something. And again, you can never say, well, he played, so he's fine. Nope. Adrenaline was pumping and flowing. Once the blood settles tomorrow and the swelling takes effect, you could be looking at him not playing next week for all we know. You lose McKenzie. I don't think that Isaiah McKenzie's coming back anytime soon if he is coming back. So you lose a punt returner, kickoff return man there. You lose a gadget guy that can help you. That hurts. Menelik Watson isn't a guy that you really say, oh man, we lost Menelik Watson. He's not a good right tackle, but damn, what you gonna do over there? Billy Turner came in. He didn't look that good to me. I seen JPP run right by him for a sack. So, and then I saw a false start from him on a 4th and 10. So I'm not confident in Billy Turner's ability to get it done. There's a lot of questions with this Broncos team after this performance. I mean, it's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling, but there are questions now, legitimate questions as to can this offense get it done moving forward with some of the pieces that are going to be out. And look, this team didn't perform well before the bye versus the versus the Oakland Raiders. Scored 17 points in that game. Was it 17? Was it 17 or was it 13? Or was it 16? I think it was 16-10. They weren't impressive. They showed the stat that this team hadn't scored a touchdown since week 4 against the Raiders in like the first quarter or second quarter of that game. This team is struggling offensively, quietly, low-key. The Broncos are finding it hard to score when they're moving the football up and down the field. They're finding it increasingly hard to punch it into the end zone. I can't quite put my finger on why that is, but they're finding it hard to get it into the end zone. And for as good as this team can be defensively, they're struggling on offense right now. So we're going to see about this Denver Broncos team as well. They got a ton of divisional games left. That AFC West is becoming very interesting because what we thought was going to be one of the best divisions in all of football, not looking like that right now. You got 2-4 teams. Now the Broncos seem to have hit a rough patch offensively. They're 3-2. And then the Chiefs, they're 5-1, and they're the class of that division. So we're going to see. But if you go to the defensive side of things for the Broncos in this game, look, they weren't terrible in this game. They weren't great. I had a Broncos fan tell me like 3 weeks ago, so I think it was, or maybe 2 weeks ago, he said, man, Von Miller's not impacting the game. And I said, well, what do you want Von Miller to do? They're double teaming him. They're chipping him. It's tough when the other team knows you're the guy and their game plan is to take you out of the game. Well, they didn't do that tonight. He was singled up with Justin Pugh for the vast majority of the night, and he only had 1 sack. That was it. And really that sack came in an inconsequential moment of the game. It was late. They needed the ball back, and it was a nice sack on the 3rd down, but you were already down 20-3 at that point. Like, where was the pressure when the game was 10-3? Where was the pressure when it was 3-0? Where was this pressure at when your team needed you to step up at 17-3 and they needed the ball back sooner? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And the stats aren't going to bear it out. You know, you're going to look up at the end of the season, Von Miller's going to have 13.5 sacks, and we're going to say another great year by Von Miller, but I'm not seeing the impact either. I had an excuse built in for him. Oh, they're double teaming, they're chipping him. Oh, I watched him tonight exclusively. I paid attention to him. They didn't help Justin Pugh a ton tonight. They were more concerned with helping the left tackle than they were the right tackle tonight. They were telling the backs and the tight ends, hey, before you go out, make sure you chip on Eric's side before you go out. No, don't worry about Justin. Justin good over there on the right side. Just make sure you chip on the way out with Eric. Cool. All right. And Von was singled up. And Von wasn't winning. So, hats off to Justin Pugh, first of all. And second of all, where's the pressure, bro? Maybe things will ratchet up when Shane Ray comes back. But, man, I tell you, that was a little disappointing tonight. I thought that Domata Peko and the run defense was solid early, but it got ugly late. And they started giving it up. And that's something you don't want to see if you're the Broncos. That's the one thing you've been good at this season is stopping the run. You know, the pass defense has been outstanding as well. But the pass defense is outstanding because you know it's 3rd and 9. It's 3rd and 8. It's 3rd and 11. They don't got no choice but to pass. All right, let's ratchet it up on their ass. Defense, lock them down in the secondary. We good. That's because on 1st and 2nd down, you allowed the defense to be able to pin their ears back by getting stops on 1st and 2nd down. You didn't do that tonight. The Giants were consistently in 3rd and manageable. The Giants consistently converted 1st and 2nd down into 1st downs. And so this was a rough night for the defense. A team that came in wounded on the offensive side of football, and you let the tight end get you tonight. The one guy that could hurt you as a skill position player, you let hurt you. You knew Evan Ingram was going to be the focal point of the offense because they had no receivers going into this game. None of their other tight ends are that good. And the one guy that could hurt you as a receiving threat, you let him hurt you. That's frustrating. If I were the Broncos, I would have took Chris Harris Jr. Anytime the Giants came out in an obvious passing situation, I'm putting my best corner in the slot on Evan Ingram. I'm taking him away. You want to beat me with Jarrell Adams at tight end? You want to beat me with Travis Rudolph? You want to beat me with Tavares King? Roger Lewis Jr.? Go right ahead. Be my guest. You want to beat me with Lacrosse at tight end? Dude I never heard of? Hey, man, have at it. You won't beat me with Evan Ingram, though. That's what you won't do. And you let him do it. So when they weren't running it down your throat, they were throwing it to Evan Ingram and hurting you that way. That's frustrating. It wasn't a great night all around. And then special teams. What the hell is going on with your field goal kicker, man? I remember when he used to be money for you. What's going on with him? Damn, Brandon, you need to step your damn game up, bruh. Got one block. Missed one. Brandon McManus, man, you skating on thin ice out there, brother. Better tighten up. Just an all-around bad game. One of those games you just want to forget. And that's the second time an AFC West team has come on Sunday Night Football and embarrassed themselves. And so that's disheartening. But in any event, for the second week in a row, the road team goes and gets it done on Sunday Night Football. This time, the New York Giants get off the schneid with a 23-10 dominant victory over the Denver Broncos. Post their first win of the season, go to 1-5. Broncos, golden opportunity to stay one game behind the Chiefs, who dropped their first game of the season. You could have been right there at 4-1 behind them just by a game. Hell, a half a game. And you let it slip through your fingers. You dropped to 3-2 on the season. Let's get to some comments, shall we? Let's see what you got. So, we'll get up to speed on these comments. Mind Draw says, wow. I think that was the reaction I gave in the first half. By the time we got out of halftime, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. But at halftime, I was like, wow. Didn't see that coming. Sean Mack says, this was a fluke. Giants coming back to earth when they face that Seattle defense next week. That may be the case. I'm anxious to see what they look like next week against a much better front that will be aggressive and force Eli Manning to beat them elsewhere other than Evan Ingram at the tight end position. One thing I know Seattle is not going to do is allow Evan Ingram to destroy them. So, they're going to watch this tape, and they know that 88 is on the field and he's a problem, and they're going to do their best to try to take that problem away, even if it means Earl Thomas is following this dude around everywhere. They're not going to allow Evan Ingram to be the difference maker on 3rd and 6, on 3rd and 4. They're not going to allow Evan Ingram to be the guy that takes them out. And I can't see them. You can run on Seattle, though. I'm not convinced you can't run on them. So we'll see just how good, like you said, they are next week. Sean Mack says, no need to break down my Browns. All you have to say is Browns versus Texans. Okay, now moving on. I probably will do something to that effect, but I want to watch the game first. BE says, best I could do is 6-8. Damn, what a shitty. It was a bad week for everybody, man. It was pretty bad for just about everybody. There'll be some outliers. I don't know how many people. There'll be somebody, 2 or 3 people that'll probably have 10 wins. That they, look. Who could have predicted Dolphins going in to Atlanta and winning? Who saw this one coming? Those probably are your 2 biggest surprises. I wasn't surprised. I told you guys that Pittsburgh was going to beat Kansas. I guaranteed it. that they were going to win. So that wasn't a surprise to me. It might have been a surprise to some of you guys. The Jacksonville outcome, I told you Jacksonville wins one week, loses one week. This was their lose week. I mean, I'm giving you guys the blueprint to success. Now, some of the stuff, I can't. That's why I told you I couldn't give you double digits this week because there's some things I didn't know what Tampa was going to do. They got their ass whooped early. Then Jameis gets hurt, and then all of a sudden, and I told you that's one thing I love about backup quarterbacks. Give me a backup that I know, hey, something's going to happen when he comes in the game. Maybe really bad, it may be really good, but I know something's going to happen. And what did I tell y'all before the season started? I need to roll back that footage. I said, I feel bad for Jameis Winston. And I said this before the season started. I feel bad for Jameis Winston because he's going to get hurt at some point this year because any time that Ryan Fitzpatrick is on your roster, he's going to start a game for you. So that means your starting quarterback is going to get hurt at some point. Damn. I was right. Pepe, the YouTuber, says, okay, what the F is up with this week? This result, Dolphins beating Falcons, Bears beating Ravens, Steelers trap game. So much for winner circle this week. Hey, I told you that I liked my picks, and I still only told y'all 9, okay? I told you that there was some nastiness going on this week. I couldn't have predicted Bears and Ravens. I couldn't have predicted Dolphins and Falcons. I couldn't predict this game. So I knew there were some losses that could be looming, but it wasn't those ones. So it's crazy. Pepe, the YouTuber, says, also, who expected the bad man to get hurt? Damn it, the football gods hate us. Yeah, that one stung because I said, hey, they got up early. They were up 7. No, they weren't up 7-0. I think it was 7-0. Minnesota was up, I think, because they tied it up on a Devontae Adams touchdown. That was their only touchdown of the game, and that was when Brett Hundley came in the game. But I said, yeah, Aaron gonna do those boys. And they didn't have, they had Case Keenum at quarterback, and there was no Stephon Diggs. I said, oh yeah, I said, man, Aaron gonna do them boys, and yikes. In any event. The Soundwave 92 says, Giants played solid football tonight in the run game, and Evan Ingram was feasting. I wonder if they can replicate this performance in the coming weeks. If you look at the schedule, I'm not one to play, huge optimist, glass half full when you start 0-5. I'm not that dude. And I'm not, hey, let's look down the schedule 5 weeks from now. But looking at the schedule, if you can get Seattle, you go to your bye week at 2-5. You come off the bye. You got the Rams at the crib. Hey, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Who knows what the Rams are by then? After that, you get San Francisco at San Francisco. You could be 4-5 with a Thanksgiving date versus the Redskins with a chance to get back to 500. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. So, look, it's probably not going to happen. And next week, they may come crashing back down to earth. Bottom line is 1 week at a time. You got the first one. That's the most important one. Now the next week's game is the most important game on the schedule, and you take it one step at a time. Pepe, the YouTuber, says, Lou, you were right when you said that Ryan Fitzpatrick will find a way into the starting position. I told you. I'm just a professional football watcher. That's it, man. All I proclaim to be is a guy that just watches this game entirely way too close for most human consumption, okay? I probably watched this game way too close. Way closer than any human being should. I consume way more football than any human should. It's ridiculous. So when I tell you that I've watched Ryan Fitzpatrick be a journeyman quarterback throughout his career and somehow, some way, always finagle his way into the starting lineup, it didn't surprise me. I told you 2 things about Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right? I said, 1, a team quarterbacked by Ryan Fitzpatrick will never make the playoffs. So the Bucs are automatically, he's not going to be their starting quarterback. But I said a team that has Ryan Fitzpatrick as their starting quarterback will never make the postseason. And Ryan Fitzpatrick has never been to the postseason, and he never will. 2, if Ryan Fitzpatrick is your backup quarterback, that means your starter quarterback is going to get hurt at some point because Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to start at least a game for you at some point in your season. It hurts me to say that because I like Jameis Winston, but I knew it was coming. Argenis Luguardo says, I feel like every team is going back to the old school ways of football, which is great defense and running football. Everything comes back around full circle, Argenis. Great observation. I was just saying that on another stream earlier today. And I also was thinking that to myself as I was watching the Giants dominate this game. I can't tell you how many teams just today alone that I watched dominate the game with great defense and a run game. We watched the Jacksonville Jaguars do it throughout the course of this season. We've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers do it throughout the season. We've seen the Ravens do it at times this year. Even the teams that aren't good on offense, like the Ravens, can survive by running the football. If they catch a week with a team that can't stop the run, they'll run it 6, 7, 8, 9 times in a row. There was a drive against the Raiders last week where the Ravens ran it 7 straight times. In week 1, when they beat Cincinnati, there was a drive where they ran it 13 out of 14 times they ran the football on a drive. 9 straight runs at one point versus Cincinnati in a game in week 1 where they won 20-0. Even if your offense stinks, if you can run it, you find a garbage run defense and you can run it, you got a shot. We watched the Dolphins go into Atlanta, down 17-0, run the football, play defense, win that game. Everything comes back around full circle. Mondraw says, who's picking those wild cards out in the AFC? Jets and Broncos? LOL? Nah. It's so early. I don't want to talk playoffs right now. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, hell, this is a week-to-week league, as I tell you all the time. I mean, you don't know who's good from week to week, so it's totally up in the air on both sides. Like, anybody can win the Super Bowl this year. It's crazy because most years, you already know, just like the NBA, you're like, okay, there's only like 4 or 5 teams that realistically have a shot at winning the NBA championship every year. And it's even more so the case now with all these super teams in the NBA. Same thing with the NFL. Every year you look, okay, it's either going to be Pittsburgh, New England on the AFC side. On the NFC side, is it going to be who's going to have this crazy year? Is it Carolina this year? Is it Atlanta? Or is Green Bay going to get back to being that team? Is Dallas going to be 13-3 this year? Are the Giants going to be that team? Who's going to come out of the NFC and play New England or Pittsburgh or one of those teams? Who's going to be the team this year? Is Seattle going to find a way to put it all together in the NFC? Who's that team? But there were only a small group of teams that you gave a shot to every year to win a Super Bowl. And now you look up this year, everybody's got, if you're not a terrible football team, like I said this last week, 8 teams don't have a shot at winning the Super Bowl. There are 8. 24 teams realistically have a shot. 24 teams, that is crazy. Now that number as the season goes along will dwindle down to about 16. And then as we get to the playoffs, of course, then there'll only be 12. But every single team that makes it to the playoffs this year, I don't give a damn how you get in. I don't care if you don't have any confidence in your quarterback. If you get into the playoffs this year, you got a shot. Because it's so wide open on both sides of the bracket. Anybody can beat anybody at any time, any given Sunday. It is crazy. Argenis Luguardo says, what do you think of an Eli trade rumors? Should the Giants trade Eli for a draft pick and draft his successor? Not going to happen, so you can forget about that. The Soundwave 92 says, with this game, if they can show this kind of production in the coming weeks, will it have some effect on Odell Beckham's contract negotiations in the offseason? He's not getting the money he's looking for regardless, okay? Will it have an impact if they can find a way to play better football with him out? Absolutely it will. Because they'll be able to say, look, we were better off without you. Now, we still want you. But I heard a stat like a year ago. And it talked about how the league's best receivers don't win Super Bowls. And this goes all the way back to the Randy Moss era. Okay? It stopped right around the Jerry Rice era because they won Super Bowls. Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, those guys won Super Bowls. It was right after that era, and that Randy Moss era took off right around 98. Since then, those guys that are the best, the quote-unquote best receiver, putting up these huge numbers, they don't win Super Bowls. Randy Moss never won the Super Bowl. Chad Johnson never won the Super Bowl. The only guy that got one, and he got one late in his career when he wasn't even the guy anymore, was Marvin Harrison. And look how long it took him to get a Super Bowl. Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, the list goes on and on with these guys that have been the biggest, the best at their respective position at receiver. AJ Green. None of these guys are winners. They don't win. Their teams don't win. There's something to be said about that. And Odell Beckham Jr., while he is a tremendous talent, he's not a winner. He complains, he whines, he drops the football in some critical situations. He's a distraction. You can't win with guys like him. You don't win consistently in this league with guys like him on your football team. And so that all goes into the negotiation process. This injury is going to go in there as well. Von Miller's going to come out. Yeah, he should be paid the most money. Of course he's going to say that because Von Miller wants the price tag for all players to go up so that when it's time for him to get a contract or somebody else to get a contract, that number and that bar has been set extremely high. But bottom line is the Giants aren't going to break the bank. And these owners, they collude. They talk to one another. You better not pay him X amount of dollars or you better not guarantee his contract fully. These teams talk. I think that's part of the reason why the Redskins haven't given Kirk Cousins his deal. Because these owners said, you better not guarantee Kirk Cousins X amount of millions of dollars. You better not give him a fully guaranteed contract. You're going to mess it up for all of us. So we'll see. But absolutely, they win some games without Odell Beckham Jr. in the lineup. They play well. This offense goes along a lot more smoothly with him out. Yeah, they're going to hold that over his head, but there's only so much of that can go on. Obviously, he's a talent. They know this. They want him back. And so he's going to get franchise tagged, if you ask me. I just don't see him getting the money he's asking for, and I don't see the Giants giving him the money he's asking for. And I don't see him taking less. He seems like the type of guy that'll just play on a year-to-year basis until either they can meet in the middle or he becomes a free agent. So we'll see what happens. Cruisin26 says, Rich Berg is the worst center at run blocking. Well, he wasn't in tonight. Maybe that's part of the reason why you ran it so well tonight. Because Weston Richburg wasn't in there at center. Maybe. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Cruisin26 says, Evan Ingram greater than O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard is the more well-rounded tight end because he can actually block, which Evan Ingram cannot. However, Ingram, we all know he's an athletic freak. And we all know he's a better pass catcher than O.J. Howard is. So if you're talking from a pass catching standpoint, yeah, that's pretty accurate. If you're talking about all around, I'd pump my brakes on that. But if you're talking impact, yeah, right now, Evan Ingram, by default, is going to have a bigger impact than O.J. Howard because there are targets out there to get the football to in Tampa, not so much in New York. Mondraw says, are the Broncos a team that can afford a loss today, or is the game going to hurt them at the end of the season? We'll see. These are the types of games you got to win at home. I mean, you really do. It was games like this last year that cost this Denver Broncos team. If you remember, they lost a game on a Sunday night to Kansas City when they were up by like 10 with like 40-something seconds left and allowed the Chiefs to come back and steal that game from them. Took them to overtime and beat them. It's games like that come back to haunt you. And remember, the Broncos, I believe, were an 8-8 team last year. Just barely missed the playoffs. 8-8, 9-7, something like that. It's these types of games that come back to haunt you at the end. Games at home. It's okay to lose a heartbreaker on the road. It's tough to win in this league on the road. At home against a winless team, you got to find a way to win. That's why I was saying to my Redskins, look, it's not going to be – and there were Redskin fans out there talking, oh, my God, we're going to blow the 49ers out. What Redskin team have you been watching over the last 2 decades? Can't be the one that I know and love because I know we don't blow anybody out, especially teams that you would think we were supposed to blow out. It just doesn't happen. So I told Redskin fans, prepare for a nail biter, and it's going to be a lot closer than you think, but I don't give a damn how it looks. I just want to win. We could have ended up like the Atlanta Falcons today. Lost a game at home to a team that you were up 17-0 against. We were up 17-0, almost blew that game. Denver was never up in this game. They were never ahead in this game. They got ambushed from the jump, and they never recovered. But an 0-5 reeling Giants team that's got to fly all the way across the country to play you, and you're coming off a bye, you got to find a way to win that game. So this is a loss that they'll definitely be thinking about. But they got to move on. You can't allow this loss to turn into 2 losses. Like this one loss, you can't dwell on it so much so that it turns into 2 losses. You can't let one loss turn into 2. They got to move on and find a way to get it done next week. Pepe the YouTuber says, hey, y'all vote for me for president in like 20 years. I'm going to end this political stuff, correct stuff. I'm going to also make Super Bowl Sunday a national holiday. Hashtag Pepe 2032. Hey, I'm all for it, man. Let's make sure that next day, who wants to go to work after that, man? Like, they should have been did that, man. That should have been like one of the last things Obama did on the way out. Hey, Super Bowl is a national holiday. Let's make sure you don't work that next day, man. It's ridiculous. We shouldn't even have to beg for that. All right, let's keep it moving. Ricky L says, who has the better pass rush, Von Miller or with 10 fingers or JPP with missing fingers? Tonight, it was JPP with about 8 fingers and a half. Von Miller, though, I still take Von Miller, even though I haven't really seen the explosive dynamic Von Miller in about 3 weeks. The guy that I saw against Buffalo that was getting chipped and still got 2.5 sacks or 2 sacks in that game, that's the guy that needs to come to the forefront. But make no mistake about it, Von Miller is still a dynamic pass rusher in this league. And JPP, for me, he's more of a power guy. And if he gets you off balance, he's so long, he can do that push-pull technique where he grabs you, pushes you, and then pulls you and propels him to the quarterback. He can get by you. He's so long. But I'd still take Von Miller, but JPP was the guy tonight. Sean Mack says, I'm sitting at 8-5. Damn Falcons and Broncos laid a dud. Titans get me a win. I'm at my usual 9 wins, close to my crown. I picked the Bears too. That was a hell of a pick by you. I thought about it, but they pissed me off so much so last week that I wasn't going back to the well twice. Mind Draw says, but really though, who are the Packers without A-Rod? We're going to find out. I'm going to tell you what. My man, Brett Hundley, sounded confident at the podium. He said, hey, Aaron's Aaron. I'm Brett. And let's go have some fun. So Brett Hundley seems confident. We're going to see what Brett Hundley does, man. Maybe this is his coming out party. We'll find out. The Soundwave 92 says, Jacksonville is a team that wins games that they should lose and only loses games that they should win. That is my theory. Well, I don't think today was a game that they should win. So I'm buying into the win one, lose one theory with Jacksonville. Doesn't necessarily matter who the opponent is. They just win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. I expect them to whoop somebody's ass next week. And it's usually not, oh, we're just going to win. They annihilate teams when they win. They destroy teams, have them questioning, are we a good football team? Like, that's what they do. They have you thinking to yourself, damn, did we just let Jacksonville do that to us? Like, it ain't nothing worse than losing to a team that you don't think you should lose to, but not only losing, but getting your ass whooped and then having you second guess yourself. Like, damn, are we that bad? Ben Roethlisberger was like, damn, do I still got it? I threw 5 interceptions versus Jacksonville, 2 to the crib. The Ravens fans are looking around like, are we any good? We just lost 44-7 to the Jags. Hey, the Jags do that, man. The Texas fans after week 1 were like, oh, shit, we in trouble. Jags be having you questioning yourself, man. And I don't know who they play next week, but better be careful. BE says, have you watched the Cardinals-Bucks game yet? All I got to say is AP all day and Larry Legend. Nope, haven't watched the game, but I saw your coach. He said today was a day for the old guys. So good for them, man. I thought that AD had some juice left in the tank. I said that. Now, he was talking crazy. I got 4 or 5 years left. No, he doesn't have 4 or 5 years left. Sounds good, but no. But I saw explosiveness still in him in New Orleans. I just didn't think it would make that big of a difference in Arizona. I still don't. I think you caught the right team at the right time. But we'll see. I hope he has some success. I'm an AD fan, so I want to see him succeed. So we'll see what happens. Mandraw says, what is Martavius Bryant's worth, whether you see it from a Redskins or any team point of view? First of all, you don't give up anything for Big Ten, Martavius Bryant, because he's already got 2 suspensions under his belt, and the next one is indefinitely. Like, you don't, he's Josh Gordon the next time he gets suspended. So from that standpoint, he can be disgruntled all he wants. I'm not bringing a malcontent onto my team. I like the kid. I think he's very talented, but no way in hell if I'm a team out there with any kind of chemistry or any kind of offense with a good quarterback, am I bringing this guy in via trade? If he was out on the free agent market, yeah, maybe I'd entertain it, but I'm not giving up assets for this dude. He could be disgruntled all he wants. I'm not trading anything for Martavis Bryant. Not with the history and not with him being a guy that can be sometimesy. When he gets upset, he pouts, he whines like he is now. You don't want that kind of guy coming into your locker room. So we'll see what happens. In any event, that's going to do it for this breakdown. Giants dominant tonight, 23-10 over the Denver Broncos. Get their first win of the season. Take their name off the list of the winless teams in the league. And then there were two. 49ers and Browns remain winless. 49ers going to get them one soon. I don't know about the Browns. To be continued for them. But in any event, the Giants dominated this game early and often. The pick six before half by the Jackrabbit, Janoris Jenkins, was, to me, the backbreaker for the Denver Broncos, as that made it 17-3 right before the half. I don't think they ever fully recovered from that pick six as the Giants get it done 23-10. A dominant performance all the way around. Special teams, offense, and defense all won the day for the Giants in this game. The ground game was abnormally good for the Giants as Orleans Darkwa exceeds 100 yards on the ground in this game. They were outstanding not only in the run game, but actually pass protecting for Eli Manning. Offensively, this was by far and away the best showing the Giants have had all season. Coincidentally, without Brandon Marshall, without ODB, and without Sterling Shepard. Who knew? Mixed bag at offensive line. You shuffle around some of the guys, and voila, you get an end product that allows you to win your first game of the season, and you get it done defensively as well. Denver, this is a disappointing loss coming off of a bye week against a winless team at home. These are the types of games, if you have aspirations of winning your division, one, but two, just making a postseason, you got to find ways to win these types of games at home. Got to put this one behind you, though. It's ugly. You burn this tape, you move on, and you see if you can't get back on the horse next week if you're the Denver Broncos. You see what I just did right there? Hopefully you did. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. I got plenty more games to break down, okay? Lockdown coverage in full effect, as you will see me maybe another time tonight, maybe not, but for sure tomorrow we're knocking them down game after game after game, taking us to Monday Night Football, Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. Can't say I'm extremely exuberant or enthused about that game, but I wasn't that enthused about this game, and I got a surprise. So maybe there's another surprise waiting for me on Monday Night Football. We'll see. But in any event, we'll see together. But before that, lockdown coverage here on the Louie T Network. Remember, I've got a Patreon page now. So if you can donate via Patreon, the link is down in the description. I'm going to release a video because there are tiers on Patreon, and there's some extra bonuses and perks that you get if you become a member on Patreon. And so looking forward to seeing some of you guys donate to the channel, and I'm looking forward to putting out some exclusive content for just those donations and those donors on Patreon. And you still can donate via PayPal if that option suits you better. So in any event, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. I will see you guys either later on tonight or today and on the East Coast, or I'll see you tomorrow. Either way, you'll see me in this face up in your space. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.